Overthinking everything is one of the most powerful things that the enemy uses to distract you, right? We need to remember that the enemy doesn't have to harm you physically or some of you even mentally, right? Overthinking is probably the most powerful tool that the enemy has against us. We often don't realize how much the enemy is doing in our lives to try and distract us. And that's all it is, right? The enemy doesn't have to harm you physically or sometimes even mentally. All he has to do is distract you. His goal is to distract you and get you away from seeking Jesus for as long as he possibly can. And I think that overthinking is a big part of what he uses, one of the tactics that he uses, at least in my personal experience, to distract us, right? I'll use myself for example. Instead of, I really struggled with sitting here, wanting to make content, but worrying about how, right? Do I need to script this? How is the scripting gonna look like? What am I gonna say or do, or how am I gonna act? Or is the script a certain way? Or the reality is you don't even need to do any of that. The videos don't need to be perfectly scripted. There is no perfect time to start. There's no perfect words to say. You just gotta do it, right? So instead of sitting there overthinking it, overcomplicating it, you just gotta hit the record button and start talking to yourself, right? And that's really all it is. And that applies to anything, right? Business, you're so worked up in your own head about, how do I build this website? Do I have to hire people? Should I hire people? Should I figure it out on my own? If so, do I need to code? Do I need to do this, that, the other? How long is it going to take? You're so worried about it that by the time you actually start, it's been weeks and months. You've been sitting there trying to plan it out, which, of course, planning is an amazing thing, and I don't discourage anyone from planning anything. You should 100% think everything through and plan it through, but don't do it so much so to the point where you're actually hurting yourself and your own progress. So definitely be aware of that as much as you can. And that's really the main thing I want to tell you guys, is to be careful how much influence the enemy has over your life and how much you're letting sometimes even the simplest things distract you, right? As always, God bless, take care, and stay safe.